What, you hadn't already pushed that button?
Sith woo! Every week we're online making Sith Tales, woo!
Oh, oh no.
Parody is not copyright infringement, woo!
This is Beth. Welcome to GURPS Wars, a homebrew GURPS Star Wars game set in, just because I think I never actually mentioned it, set in the Star Wars The Old Republic MMO era, or actually rather a bit before it. You're about a year out from the Treaty of Coruscant and all that good stuff. So, I've got Crash, I've got Ellie, I've got EO. What happened last time?
Nobody knows.
And Tuxa, what happened last time?
We wrapped up some dreadfully tiring business with some apprentice or other, and then had a very delightful conversation with Lord Zelda, and then boarded a starship.
Then, would you like to provide any further detail?
We're headed off to some other horrifying, terrible place, this time because we volunteered.
Brad, anything else you'd like to add?
But, it's better than doing more taxes.
Would Rand like to add anything to this?
It's not the first time we volunteered. I believe we've been doing many missions like this for Darth Stockholm. Also, I leveled my telekinesis self up by 1. Fear me.
Oh no, what is it now?
It's 18 now.
Oh, well.
It's only 18.
Okay.
It's other. That's the unreasonable one.
I've only put 24 points in it, not like the 40 points that are in telekinesis other.
I'm just going to be entertained. So entertained. Yes. Why did I even bother to give you lightning? You only have 1 point in it. You never know. You might want lightning for some reason.
Hey, Rand sees no need to have fatigue as a stat whatsoever. But he did have to use it once. And I'm only saying this right now because he can't hear me.
Rand would like you to believe that he has never broken a sweat using telekinesis ever in his life.
Correct. He makes this look easy, which is what I've renamed the ability to. Look, I learned it from watching Ellie. She renamed all of her Force-sensitive abilities.
True. You're all doing a favor for Lord Zelda, I believe. It doesn't have an R. I keep trying to put R in it, but I believe it's Lord Zelda, who is the grandfather of Mocha, who you rescued from the gang back in Egg Day. So you are going off to Black Space to check on what his Darth has told him is a technology, illicit and or secret technology starbase. You have coordinates, you have a rented Fury class small starship. It does actually have freshers. I have outlined the freshers in blue. You even have 2 of them. They're basically little combined seats and sink and sonic shower. You just close the door and you can do everything in there, really. Your Fury will set you free from gravity. Well, yes. Rage will set you free. Yeah. The contragrav does act on the gravitic forces, so it must be a force itself. I'm not going into that. It will be about a week combined with, not just hyperspace lanes, but then you have to stop in this one location and start sort of puttering and doing little micro hyperspace jumps to get to a place because there are no lanes here. Where you're going, there are no lanes. And that will actually take about a couple days of navigate, etc. Sen, do you want to give me a piloting roll to determine whether you can actually do this in only a couple days? Just for grins. Excellent. Yes, you can, in fact, do the thing. You are also probably taking your time at it a bit.
It would have been okay if we'd taken a bit longer. We do have food for a week or two, and thanks to Ren, quote, food, unquote, for several more weeks after that.
I'm happy to share.
You have a cargo bay in there. It has a number of useful things, even before Ran brought in all of the crates of MREs. You have whatever luggage you feel reasonable, and we can always go back and hand wave to plausibility. Yeah, sure. It was stocked by a biotics lord, so there's like a portable lab in here. Portable chemistry lab. What? Why? Who knows? You've got one. Does anyone have skill to use it? Probably not. But it's there. You have PPE. You have spacesuits. You have actually both. Like you've got the lab suits that are, fairly lightweight. You've got spacesuits, possibly because you might have to actually go into the place through space or something. Rancid REs. Great big box.
Well, they don't compress as much as Antux's research materials.
Yes. Well, no. Cargo room. Basset Hound Go Bay. Indeed. The place you're going to stopped communicating. It went dark, and that's why the Darth wanted to have more eyes on it. Is it abandoned? Can they loot it now? Yeah. So, after a suitable amount of time, load that. You finally find you're sort of popping from gravitational well to gravitational well in the stars, and you pop out at this place. There's a system. It's got about, 3 major planets, and yeah, that's a gas giant. Woohoo. And yep, okay, here's the coordinates in this place where it's going to be. And
Wait, I thought the station was in black space.
it is. Well, I figure that it's even in black space, you're going to have to jump to there's a system nearby.
There's a system nearby.
You orient on the completely boring, unuseful system, and then you go to these coordinates. Here's your star and these coordinates, and you make your final jump and come out to look at the thing that will hopefully be visible. Can everybody see that? Okay, I will put your characters on.
I see that we are, in fact, in black space.
Yeah, that's...
Yes.
We're huge.
Also, apparently I'm gigantic.
Oh, was this what we were doing? This is fine. Give me a moment. I can deal with something this size. No problem.
This is the hologram that is showing on the ship's, large hologram thing there as a, 3D rotating, slightly see-through, but hey, whatever, image of what you are viewing. It is a ring-shaped structure. It has a couple of apparently drives attached, hyperdrive type things. It must be mobile. Ran, you could actually make a savoir-faire. Sten and Ran probably have enough experience with this sort of thing that if you can figure out an appropriate thing or an IQ -3, then you can actually identify more detail than that. Well, there's a 7.
I identify more detail.
On Rand's part. This is a stealth ship is not quite the right word, as it's a stealth station. It can, in fact, be set to rotate and provide centrifugal gravity and then cut the power and just leave it rotating quietly so that it is harder to discover. It does have artificial grav, but Hmm?
If they have it spin like a quarter on a table as opposed to spin like 2001 Space Odyssey, then it might, if they spun it fast enough, look spherical. And then we might look at it and say, that's no space station. That's a moon.
It's not
It's
big
not-
enough to be a moon.
Maybe a
It'd have to be
Kuiper
an
belt.
asteroid.
Right. The other thing that Rand knows about it is that these things, they do not generally, you do not want to try to hyper jump them on their own, but you can actually slide a special transport ship into the center and synchronize the hyperdrive fields and jump it that way.
It's
So
made
they are
of
portable.
space Legos.
Yeah, pretty much.
Splegos.
No. No.
Also,
I mean,
Ellie
it'd
has-
have to be dupes.
Ellie has reminded us that Antuxa is currently wearing a cat onesie set of pajamas
Duca onesie.
with a hood that has little cat ears that stick out and a tail that
Yes.
appears to have a wire in it so that it also sticks out from the body.
Yes. Or at least so it has a curl in the end. Yes,
It's
that's
possible
right.
that the person wearing it
took-
is just holding the tail.
Yes, I think they're holding the tail outwards, but the curl on the end is definitely present. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's Antuxa, who has been wearing these hoodie pajamas of various different kinds the entire time.
After 1 week of being on the ship with Antuxa, this is the entire crew.
Dancing pajama, yes.
Look,
Well, the entire crew
Antuxa
is
was
you
right.
three.
They're incredibly comfortable.
You can't hear me cracking up because Discord won't let it. This is just
I
wrong.
can hear it in your voice.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Anyway, it's basically a hollow ring with a couple of engines, one on each of the halves of it, and a central spoke comes out to the middle that currently has a ship docked on it. The ship does not look like an Imperial design, for whatever that might mean. PCs may now speculate and banter among themselves as to what they're going to do about this. There do not appear to be any other obvious docking locations except the one that there's a ship at.
I have a lightsaber.
I have a total disrespect for doors.
We have spacesuits.
We have ways of making this work. The question is, do we pick one or use all of them for variety?
Well, the spacesuits are kind of a necessity, I think, because most of our ways in don't involve airlocks.
Rand does not say anything, but starts doing mental calculations for how powerful his telekinesis other needs to be to keep air molecules within his vicinity.
Pretty powerful.
He doesn't think he's there yet,
There's also
but it could be a life goal.
the problem with that is that once you've left an area with fresh air, keeping the air molecules around you starts having the issue of now it's carbon dioxide molecules. So,
Well, yes, but it's more than the air in your lungs, and also you don't suffer from violent decompression. It's a stopgap,
there is that.
provided you don't have a
There,
spacesuit.
yeah.
Also,
Hmm?
also, Rand wants to get his telekinesis other up to the point where he can just separate the carbon off from the oxygen.
I'm pretty
Well,
sure that's
he
not
did it
how
before.
that works.
He didn't before, but he's now adding that to his bucket list. There is a chemistry lab on the ship.
Okay, we're not doing that. We
Well,
are
we're not doing that now, correct?
breaking into a space station. We're not doing that on the way back either. But right
Well-
now we're breaking into a space station.
So there is a ship that is docked where in the obvious docking location. Are there other docks available, or do we have to move that ship out of the way, or can we dock with that ship and then go through the ship to the space station?
Our GM said
The-
there aren't any other obvious docking locations.
Right.
Okay,
The ship that is
blanked on
Okay, and Tuxa, bureaucracy. What's your bureaucracy success for?
Not intending to interrupt the current conversation.
No, I want to hear what that one is just for grins. I can come back.
She's finding out if we have a record of this model of spaceship.
That's actually a good question because that might help you figure out if the other ship has any way to dock with it, and then you'll stroll through the ship and go into the station. After digging around a bit, this looks like a Rhodian make cargo shuttle that is not normally hyperspace capable, but it has enough cargo space that you can basically stick some hyperdrives in it as an aftermarket edition. They are small, well, they're about that big. They don't have a lot of passenger room. You basically lean your passenger seats back to sleep in. They are not comfortable for long hyperspace jumps, but obviously one got out here or came with whatever parked this here and was left here for some reason. The model normally just has the one official airlock, but the aftermarket installation of hyperspace may give you access. If you basically unseal a few things, you could probably crawl in beside the hyperspace engines.
If only one of us was small like a Jawa.
That
Sorry?
was completely.
Only one of us was
Small like a Jawa. To squeeze in to this entrance. Well, Rand can make it larger if necessary. Question.
I mean, yes.
Well, this is Rand in character. This is not a strong skill for me, but Antuxa, is there any chance you can sense anything on there before we go poking around with our pointy lightsabers?
Well, pardon me. Possibly. I'll have to check the rules.
I should note, Ran, that this sort of station usually has at least 2 life pods, and the life pods may, if you push the, correct buttons, have doors to get into the rest of the station. You might have to break into a life pod.
Are the life pods there? Have they been used?
Oh, that's a fascinating little question, isn't it? How close are you getting, to the whole thing? Are you going
Rand does not trust himself to be the pilot, so that's somebody else.
At the moment, you've got this view of it, and you might need to do a little circuit, look around, where the life pod, identify where the life pods would be, make another piloting roll.
The answer is it depends on how close we are.
Made by 8. Sen, you can get up smoothly as much as you want close to this thing, give it an actual visual inspection, not just the sensors. I'll answer that for Antux in just a moment. There appear to be, in fact, yes, 2 life pod, not, escape raft, whatever, ports, one of which is closed, the other of which appears, one is closed, and the other is, it looks like it's got an indentation where a life pod used to be. The automatic bulkheads, that's not the right word, doors slid closed after it left, but there's a bump where one is, and there's not a bump here. There's an indentation. Okay, so
If these doors
Let's
were
see,
pushed open, would they close again?
the ones that were opened, probably, yeah.
I think I found a way inside. Ram will point out where the escape pod used to be.
Oh, nice. Don't
We
think our
might not
ship's
even
gonna
need to cut
fit
a
in
hole.
there.
Oh, the ship won't fit, no. But
So, spacesuits for us?
as a precaution, sure.
Okay. Right. However, Antux has done a tremor in the force, 300 yards. Sen, did you get within 300 yards of any of this?
It can
presumably.
take us in that close.
Yeah, you made it by 8. I figure that's... Yes, Antuxa, you sense life. You sense low-level force use, kind of. Like there are force users there who aren't very good at masking their presence, but they're not necessarily hugely powerful either.
It's life, Ren, but not as we know it.
One of them is a small lizard person that has taken mechanic skills.
I would also like everyone to make a perception roll who is examining the structure through the windshield, basically. And Tuxa made by 4.
I found my perception.
And you
And then
missed
I
by
failed
1.
it.
Okay.
Why can't I click it?
I don't know.
I have also failed it.
And Tuxa, there's something floating near the ship. It's not tethered, the ship that's in the little docking spoke there. There's something floating near its underside.
What?
Do we have binoculars?
You can force the sensors to go in.
Okay.
It will take you a little bit of futzing about if you don't want to wind up making, well, give me a computer ops roll and I will figure how long it will take to futz around with it. Made by 1. It's not precisely computer ops, but it's poking around, it's digging up the documentation. You have succeeded by 1. It doesn't take you too frustrating a time to force the sensors to enhance. There's a spacesuit floating there. It's tethered by a lot of tubing that eventually goes into a small access port or something, and it's just floating there.
No movement at all?
It does not seem to be moving appreciably at this time.
What have
Well-
you found?
I don't know.
Shall we go over there, or should I bring them to us?
I think if you bring them to us, if anything is still living in that thing, it won't survive.
If we got close
Well-
enough, I could probably pull them into our airlock without breaking the tethers. Until the airlock door closed, of course.
Well, it's up to you. Personally, I'm just as happy to leave it alone. The silence is not reassuring.
Ran is thinking. If there's someone alive but unconscious in that spacesuit, they possibly would be able to provide us with valuable information that we'd otherwise be stumbling around trying to discover for ourselves. Although they could be a contaminated corpse. Or they could be just a regular corpse.
I sense nothing.
Well, how about we put our spacesuits on and go check?
Probably wise.
Going to try
Ugh,
to
I hate spacesuits.
There is nothing wise about us being on this journey at all. However, it will be
Well,
an
okay, I
adventure.
hate Imperial spacesuits.
Let me roll something.
Did we not get a spacesuit requisition that allows for Leku?
Just checking a little something here because, after all, I want
You're
to.
saying that like they make those.
It would
As it
have to be
happens,
bespoke.
as it happens, you do in fact have a spacesuit that, while it is not precisely comfortable for your Leku, you don't have little floaty Leku spacesuit socks. There's room.
You have a giant goldfish bowl.
I mean, I figure that you. What kind of spacesuits does Star Wars have anyway? That you
I'll
have a.
show you.
Oh yes, do show me. Let's get the picture. I made an IQ roll, and okay, yep, they're horrible, bulky things, and as it happens, you actually have an extension on one of the spacesuits that is basically extra room for your Leku down the back a little. They're going to have to curl around a little bit, but it's not quite as having to wrap yourself up in your own Leku like a scarf and turban.
Yay. Good. Excellent. Not a fishbowl. Full of eels.
And you're the eels.
No, that's the
The
hovercraft.
eels.
I'm
Eel of your own making.
I'm somewhat concerned that you decided that there would be eels in said fishbowl.
I mean, the leku. The leku are eels, sort of, in this analogy. But no, it's a little thing down the back that it makes the air tanks in back a little bit less well positioned, but he actually got something that fits the leku in without having to look like a ninja inside of your helmet.
Excellent.
I rolled IQ and he made it.
The alternative
So you're going to
would have been a helmet where instead of having to go down the back, they come out and curve up, so you look like a minotaur.
that would have been kind of a problem, what with the whole trying to fit into spaces
I
and
didn't
whatnot.
say it would be convenient,
Mhm.
but it would be funny. All right.
Fortunately, he went
so we are suited up. We are
You're
wearing our
suited
best
up.
suits.
Okay, where are you parking the ship? Approximately.
Golden Gate Park.
Everyone remember where we parked. Where in space are you parking your Fury?
We keep it inside us.
Well, I'm going to sync up to whatever speed the station's going, if it is going any speed at all.
Not really. It might have a little tiny bit of drift, but not really.
And just, set it a bit above the area we are going down to. And, well, one of these suits probably have thrusters, and two, we all have telekinesis.
This is true.
Actually,
Okay.
I'm not sure Antuxa has telekinesis, but
I have enough telekinesis for all of us. It's fine.
This is true.
And the ship almost certainly has automatic station keeping.
That seems
put it in
very
park.
likely, yes.
Don't forget to put on the emergency brake.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well, are all of the spacesuits like that, or just Ben's?
Sen has the spacesuit with the extra Leku space, and the other two are normal standard.
Okay.
You had someone who came and got your exact proportions for some of the legs things, but
I assume none of us are
That was
wearing the onesies anymore.
I mean,
No,
you
if
want-
we can wear clothes under the spacesuits, and Tuxa will have changed.
yeah, you
if
can
we
wear
can't wear
fairly
clothes under the spacesuits, there will be many complaints filed with management. The smell
You can wear
alone would be
clothes.
worth it to make the complaints.
Ew. You can, in fact, wear clothes under the spacesuits, but not like large, bulky clothes. And if you had robes, it would get kind of bunched up around your waist, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Skin tight, preferable, but not necessary. Skin conforming, moderately necessary, especially in the sleeves.
Rand isn't wearing the
I'll carry
silk
it.
robe, but he's wearing his military uniform.
Or at least the undershirt for it. And Tuxa?
And Tuxa's bag is a little more packed than usual.
You're bringing an outfit change when you get out of the spacesuit.
Not an entire outfit change. There's just an accessory that has to go with it that won't fit in the suit.
I love this. I absolutely love this.
Yes, there are, I'm sure, little cargo things that you can basically little magnetic cargo boxes that you can glue to yourself here and there. Okay.
Magnets, how do they work?
Indeed. I have put a little blue ring for the approximate location of the floating spacesuit.
And where are the escape pods?
The
I
escape
think they're the yellow things.
No, actually. Those are not the yellow things. Those
There's
are
too many of them.
Right, there's fuel and that's where they keep like some of the fuel and the life support things and whatnot. And let me double check where the escape pods are. Okay, there's that bump. There's that bump. Oh, yes. All right. Lab ship. The escape pods are on the underside in drawing tools.
Oh, they hid the escape pods in the drawing tools. Crafty.
Yes, they did. Crafty. If I am correct about which side the escape pods are on, let's see, not there.
Well, our listeners are definitely going to see this, so
There.
you have to be precise.
Yes. Well, I believe they are basically each of them right next to where the engineering sections are. The
Okay.
where the engines and power plants and whatnot are located. They're either above and below, above one and below the other from your perspective, or vice versa. It's a little hard to figure from the maps that I have.
I pull out my map of the space station, and it's all done in an isometric view, but very cartoony, showing the various locations where the rides are.
Yeah, that's not wrong, really. That's not wrong. Yeah. But approximately in that location, they're right next to the engineering sections, the squares that I put.
Well, let's head for the little circle.
Okay. I'm going to ask for another piloting roll. I assume you're going to be taking it slow and steady,
Uh-huh.
or
I'm
possibly
not showing off. I'm not doing a barrel roll.
you're not going to try and sort of zip in there and hit the back thrusters, and you made it by 6. Yep. You can slide your ship in so that the airlock is right next to the floating spacesuit, give or take a few meters.
I want to give it at least a little space, in case it's a contaminated corpse, because I don't really want a contaminated corpse floating into the airlock.
I mean, there is that. Shall I put you back on the Fury, map-wise?
Probably.
Okay. As you will note, down at the bottom of the map of the Fury, which hopefully everybody's... I didn't move you there. What is it?
I moved me to the airlock and the Bucephalus.
You might want to delete the
Was linked with
Bucephalus
you.
from the map, just to make things easier. I think
It sailed out of the void.
because we could all access the Bucephalus, it ended up being selected by all of us when you switch to the map. So if we move our character, it moves with us.
I'll just delete the Bucephalus. We can always put it back if need be.
My favorite part
delete
about
any
this
characters,
is
right?
you said we can always put it back.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
All right, where's our airlock
All right,
on
down
here?
at the bottom, down
17.
Yeah, 17. 16 is a ramp. You could open the ramp if you want. 15 has doors there, which I am assuming you close. 15 is the room that you appear in when you've come up, through your airlock all the time. So you have a ramp, or you have stairs that lead to the airlock. You can open it. I don't have a spacesuit actor. I need a floating spacesuit. Well, I'll just worry about that later. I'll just use one of the others. Okay. Thing.
I will boldly step out of the airlock.
Wow, there's no gravity here. Do you think I have free fall?
Nope.
I don't need free fall. I have telekinesis self.
You might need free fall to discover whether or not you have I'll just put it right there.
One of those rolls was telekinesis self for me. One of those rolls was telekinesis other for my friends.
Made by 10, made by 7. I
And
do,
I do
however,
not have
want
free
a
fall.
free fall. Okay, give me an HT roll. And let's see if you fail it. And if so, by how much?
I'm sure it'll be fine. For
And
everyone but in
Tuxedo, this is the
Tuxedo.
worst.
It is
Fall
fine
isn't a
for
skill.
everyone.
Free fall isn't a skill.
It's not anymore?
Well,
No, it's been changed to it's been changed to I have to look it up.
Vac-suit?
G experience,
Oh, G experience.
which is an advantage. not a skill.
Well, I have opinions. Well, Sen, just give me an HT roll. Or did you already and I didn't see it?
I don't see one for Sen.
Back suit.
Just
Yeah,
give me an
back
HT.
suit's skill.
Right.
Oh.
Can you give me an
That's
HT
for
roll?
getting in and out. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Made it by 4.
Antuxa, you have not been in free fall. If you're stepping outside of the artificial gravity, you have not been in free fall before in your life. It is very distracting. You're at a -3 to everything that you are doing because, wow, this is distracting.
Wait, no, this says free fall is a skill. Why won't it show up?
Oh.
Well, now it will show up. Okay. Our fighting with Foundry has been replaced by fighting with iBooks.
Must be from GURPS Space. I don't think it's in the basic set.
No, it's apparently in the basic set. I found it.
Free space
Oh,
fall.
you're right. Free fall.
Dex average,
Yeah, but it
default
didn't
dex
want
size.
to show up the first time I searched, which was weird.
Okay, so it does still.
Yeah, it does still exist. Sorry for the misinformation. That was fake news.
A
For
retraction
the
will be published.
purposes,
Most people won't see the retraction.
indeed, especially because it's not because it's an audio format. I am just going to go with Antuxa is at a -3 to everything while in free fall because this is so weird. This is so weird, and you did not evolve in free fall. You evolved on Korriban. Thank you. Your species evolved on Korriban, and Korriban has gravity. There's an up and there is a down, and right now there is not an up or a down. This is the worst by -3, if that is acceptable.
Oh, hey, I'm upside down.
In a manner of speaking, I choose to believe that I'm the center of the
Well,
universe
relative
currently.
to the ship.
Oh, do you want to not be?
No, this is fine.
Okay. Let me know if you need help, otherwise. Antuxa, are you okay?
Antuxa gives a thumbs up.
So, Antuxa is Sith, which means her skin color is red, correct?
Yes.
So, normally the saying is if someone's feeling sick, they're looking a little green. If you mix red and green together, you get brown. The other option is if Antuxa's going pale, she's pink. I'm just throwing these things out there.
Or an ashy sort of red. I mean, sort of, maybe bluishly purple. It adds some interesting effects that are possibly not there, but normally. But you're in a spacesuit. It's a little hard to see through the spacesuit windows.
And
Antuxa has the interior lights turned off.
with what EO has written in chat, I love the idea of Sen playing with the thrusters. Ran is pretending not to notice.
This is how Sen got upside down.
Sen was playing with their own thrusters. Their own ship thrusters.
Well, yes. Once Rand realizes that's why Sen was upside down and is continuing to do maneuvers, even though we don't have a flag. Space adaptation syndrome, space sickness, or
fun stuff.
sickness.
We try to avoid that.
Yes, but Antuxa did not avoid that.
We tried.
True.
We tried.
We tried so hard. Okay.
We haven't actually gotten very far yet, though.
All right. Well, we don't need to get far because forgive me, I may have spaced out a little bit, which is apt for this particular setting, but we're trying to get a closer look at the spacesuit that's floating out there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm not going to try to break any tethers, but I'm still going to stretch the tethers out to bring them closer to us.
Okay. You can get to where, with a little bit of moving people around, basically you can meet it halfway without breaking any tethers.
Makes it far more convenient.
Okay. You have used your telekinesis self and telekinesis other, and without gravity, this is like so much easier to move yourself around. And wow, or maybe you're moving other things around. You can pull and push yourself based on the ships around you. So this is fascinating because it's like pulling the ships, but with just a little power, and that means you move or something. It's weird. Okay, you can get someone to have hands on the mysterious spacesuit, which I have placed with a boring icon, default icon down at the bottom there.
Hello there.
The faceplate is opaque if you are not shining a light into it.
I shine a light into it.
I shine a light into it.
The polarized faceplate is still moderately hard to see through, but there appears to be someone inside. There's a face, the eyes are closed. There are, if you sort of look around, there's all the controls. The suit appears to be functioning.
I do the thing that aquarium keepers everywhere will despise. I tap on the glass.
There does not appear to be any response from inside.
Is there any sign of trauma? And what species do they appear to be?
Human.
So, Antuxa, do you want to, or should I?
Antuxa is using Force Sense.
Ah, there you are. Made by 3.
Thank goodness. I was afraid you were talking about using the ability where you have to touch the object. I'm like, no, don't take off your glove here. Don't take off your glove here. It doesn't work that way.
Tremor the
Yeah,
force is to detect.
and that is probably why Sen failed the roll. They have put the glove of their spacesuit on the faceplate, and absolutely nothing is happening.
Conversely, you now know the history of your spacesuit.
Okay, let's see.
It was born 23 galactic cycles ago in a little colony of spacesuits.
Also known as a factory.
The other spacesuits wouldn't let it play the
detecting-
spacesuit games because it had Twi'lek attachments for its helmet.
But now it's
And no, this isn't a factory spacesuit. This is a free-range, naturally grown spacesuit.
That
I mean, it is
implies that these either
out of
are or have been
biotics.
alive.
Biotics. You got these spacesuits from a biotics requisition.
Oh no. Oh no, our jokes are becoming canon. What have we done?
And Tuxie, you did not detect any force activity from the person in the suit using your force sense.
Is there a mind at all?
That's going to require, let me double check what I'm doing. I don't think force sense is for just brains.
Yeah,
That
it is.
would be, it is?
Can feel the presence of minds around you, especially those of Force users.
Okay. Made it by 3. Maybe? It would have to be thinking to be a mind. You're not sure it's dead. It might be dead. Maybe there's a ghost trying to coalesce. Or maybe it's not dead. Maybe it's just very, very unconscious. Or maybe there's some parasite inside it that's like, not a sapient mind and it's growing.
Well, now we know why the Bucephalus was here. They were offloading.
They're in the past. You can't. Hopefully.
Their mission failed.
You
They all
certainly-
got
A
infected.
little name tag on the spacesuit says Nedra.
No. Alas, there are no name tags on this.
Is
Well,
there a hatch that they came out of?
There's- It looks like they came out of. Let me check my little mappies again.
Ellie, were you going to say something?
Nothing you don't already know.
It looks like they came out of a hatch that was near the large inner spoke there.
Is that hatch still open?
It appears to be closed. And you're not even sure that's the hatch they came out of. It's merely the one that's closest to the
Okay.
crack of where they came up.
Revising the
Quote,
question,
up.
where's the other end of the tether?
The other end of the tether, let me pop open the other scene. One moment. And make another little dot for the end of the tether with a ellipse. The other end of the tether is about where the lower circle is. It's about
That is,
halfway down.
One heck of a length of tether.
It is. It definitely is.
And is that where the hatch
It is
is?
not. The hatch is further down. It looks like they came out of a hatch, went up a bit, plugged in a tether. The suit does have air tanks as well, and
Is there a digital display or something that says how much air is in the tanks?
not
Turn
one
them
that you
around.
can
That's
see.
always on the back of the suit.
I mean, it might be one on the back of the suit.
Oh no, we're in the Dead Space universe. Definitely not going in that ship.
Going to go back to this one. Move everybody. If you examine the back of it, yes, there's a little. It's not a specific readout, but yes, there's a readout, and the air tanks appear to be at not dry, but very low. You know, it's got the green, it's got the yellow, it's got the red. It's just above the red. It's kind of orangey.
Is there an open airlock within range of the tether?
There is not an open airlock within range of the tether, except, for your ship.
Right.
Which we
If
had to
you-
go halfway to them from our airlock. So even that's not within range of the tether.
Yeah. The tube that is tethering them is not just free hanging from there. It appears to have been clamped down with little, presumably magnetic clamps part way through that long climb. It's a fairly thick tube.
What are the chances they were trying to get to the ship through a spacewalk?
You'd think that, except for the part where they apparently just stopped, even though they still had some air in their
There's
tanks.
other things that can make you stop besides running out of air.
Well, that's true. Perhaps the parasite inside them grew too large or something. If there's a parasite inside them, which you don't know.
This is a biotics ship. Is
Isn't it?
there any kind of containment equipment?
That seems entirely plausible. It's probably something that is expandable or set upable via it's probably packed. You'll have to unpack it.
Well, let's unpack it.
Okay. Some amount of IKEA instructions later, you have a containment equipment. It's called the Spaceship Hull. That's the first level of containment. You have
assume that's the first one.
There are numerous possibilities for containment once you start digging in. There are little things that are basically force screens that are supposed to filter out, air, etc. There are body bag containment things that you plonk something into, various sizes of it, generally transparent. And there's a tent that you can set up that is a little bigger than a pup tent with rods and panels and whatnot. And of course, you can do a temporary one, like stick them in a plastic bag and then put them in the colto tank or something. Got a couple of med beds in a colto tank.
Can the colto get in if you do that?
Well, you'd kind of have to peel them to do that, and then your colto's contaminated, but
Right.
the containment tent is indeed one that you can put filtered air in and, clean the air, recirculate it, vent it somewhere, vent it into space. This is a biotics modified Fury.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, sure, let's stick them in the containment pup tent.
Okay. Some amount of instructions.
Maybe in a med bed, if it fits over a med bed.
It's mostly meant to be completely self-contained, but you can toss a sleeping bag into it as padding. Yeah. You can toss in some padding.
Okay. That's
a med sleeping bag.
I don't think that's a thing.
I did a search for pup tent and
a meeping bed.
This.
No. Oh, but that's a kitty.
But that's not a pup.
I know.
But it's adorable.
Also, that's not a pup tent.
It does look kind of like a spaceship, though.
Yes. I think that is a spaceship.
It would need to be this to be a pup tent.
Yeah.
You see, they have a flag.
It's got a little flag. It has a biotics hazard. It has a biotics hazard symbol on it.
And it's red for some reason.
Well, yeah. Okay, are you going to um detach the little hose? Well, little, you can maybe if you had large hands, you could get two hands around it. Are you going to detach the hose and drag them in?
I mean, it's magnetically clamped to the space station hole, right?
The hose that's well, there's the hose that is leading into the spaceship, etc., and is forming their tether, and it's going in to it's attaching to their suit around where their air tanks are. You could detach it from their suit and drag the suit in,
I'm assuming that
or several.
there's a mechanism for doing that, so we're not just like ripping out their air hose.
Correct. Yes, there's apparently a valve that snaps shut on both ends as you detach it.
Hoping it's quick release and not, playing with a garden hose, turning that little metal ring.
You have to do a little bit of turning and twisting, but you have telekinesis 22. I'm not going to make you roll for this. You can do it.
Ran has picked up the hobby of assembling Swiss watches with his mind.
That's because assembling ships in bottles is too easy.
I didn't say that the Swiss watches work. That requires a different skill set to build a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he is able to shove all the gears into the housing and then close the lid. It does require some force to shove them all in and close the lid. But fortunately, he's using a force power to do it, so that works. And Ellie has posted a GIF that is currently loading but has not loaded for me.
It's a fire hose connected to a hydrant, and no one is holding it. So it is whipping around. Actually, it does not appear to make a great deal of, there's some like final air or something with humidity that wisps out as you take it off, and then presumably you seal the thing.
All right.
And the one on the suit just snaps closed. You have
Let's
a
get
suit.
this-
You can tow it in.
Let's go camping.
Get the suit on the road? That was weird. I didn't see
Take the
your...
suit and we're going to zoot on over to the pup tent. We'll have a riot.
Okay. I am going to make Ran, since Ran is obviously the one who's going to do this, do one telekinesis other roll to transport the spacesuit without anything touching it. Or
On
without
one
it
hand,
touching anything.
I want to make a comment about you giving me such a hard task to do. But on the other hand, I want to make a comment on, if I do this often enough, I will eventually crit fail again.
Uh-huh.
But not this
But
day.
not today.
Success made by 9.
Okay.
I move them into the ship, but I hold on to their foot so they pull me. To get around the whole, you can't use the force on yourself that way trick, I set them on a ballistic trajectory and then grab on.
This could work, sure.
If not, I can use
in space. It's a lot easier
or thrusters, but still.
You get back in. Everyone gets back in. I assume. Whoops, that's the wrong tool. This is the correct tool. We'll put the mysterious spaceship here and assume that you have put a pup tent around it, or actually I'll just draw a pup tent because I have drawing tools. That make the rectangle. Actually, it's probably small. It snaps, but this fascinating. This snaps differently. That's annoying. Okay, there you go. You may now place your characters as desired. You have a space-suited person. I will make Rand do another telekinesis other if you want to try to undo their spacesuit while they are inside the pup tent.
As long as air can get into it, that's probably not necessary, but I think we want air to be able to get into it. I don't know if that's like undoing the spacesuit or if that's just turning some valve somewhere, or...
At least getting the helmet off.
Getting the helmet off will certainly work.
Yeah.
You find all the little clasps, you press all the little buttons, Rand gets to do a lot of the telekinesis. Go ahead and make another roll because you're doing fiddly stuff with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, made by 8. That's whatever
I
penalties.
can see Sen carefully finding the clasps and pressing the buttons and doing the thing, and then Rand's like, 1 second. And all the clasps undo at once.
You did have to find them all, Okay, you can get the helmet off. This is a human, probably female. She does look a bit bruised now that there's some fading bruises on her face. Eyes closed, very, very pale. Lips are a little bit bluish tinged or very pale, not quite to the I have been suffocating to death, but not a lot of
She was on her
circulation.
way.
Probably, maybe. Although the air tanks suggested that wasn't going to be a problem for a while.
So there's something else that's wrong.
Yeah, they were in the orange, not red.
Yeah. Very gaunt looking at the moment. Like, hasn't eaten for who knows how long. Or hydrated.
I mean, the MREs are right there.
Indeed.
This is weird and I don't like it.
They're not that bad. I mean, you've had several of them. But more
and
to the
Tuxie,
point,
you can
yes.
get closer if you want to do things now. And
I
also you can
worry
have
that
gravity.
Our primary ways of getting more information right now, or assisting them, all involve things that don't involve PPE.
Touching.
Yes.
Or you could just leave them on the ship and assume they'll stay unconscious and go investigate places.
Now, then they'd be telling
Or
us that we have to go to
assume
an
they're
auction
dead.
or something. Or they
As
take
it
our
happens,
ship to go on.
I don't have.
And Tuxa? As it happens?
I don't have to touch them. It's just more dramatic.
Healing!
others, made by 7. And Tuxa successfully heals the parasite.
Draws a huge, shuddering breath, and her eyes fly open, staring into space, and she is gasping in air. Her fingers scrabble in the suit at the padding that you put in that tent. Oh, and we've been playing for about, over an hour. So should we take a break here?
It sounds like a good cliffhanger to stop.
Sorry.
At.
Thank you. Yes. Excellent.
Oh, look. She's awake.
Gasping, staring into space, and sort of clutching at the padding beneath her with the spacesuit fingers.
It's all right. You're going to survive. I don't know if you consider that a good thing, but, well, you're at least in an atmosphere again.
Oops. She focuses on you and does not seem to be saying anything, although you are being stared at very intently. Oh, mind shield. Okay. Your mind is shielded. Okay. She twitches her arms around and legs, but might be trying to get up. Hard to tell.
We thought it imprudent to take you out of your spacesuit until we understood what was going on.
She's just panting and doesn't look entirely friendly. Does anyone want to do any of your empathy type rolls? You're close enough now. And someone's clearly awake. Made by 8. What you are getting from this is hunger. This is as bad as when you've been doing stuff and burning through all of your energy stores and you're just really, really hungry. This is like that, but worse. Hunger and anger, fear, something, the sort of background radiation of just being angry at things that you would generally associate with Sith, but hunger.
I will again say the MREs are right over there. But Rand doesn't know that she's hungry.
Sen, dear, what do you think? Do you think we can pump some sedative into that tent?
It's Biotics 10th. There's probably a way.
Maybe.
IQ rolled to see if you read the instructions while you were assembling it. Yeah, you read the instructions. The sedative pump is right here. You just plug in one of the sedative canisters that was also tucked into the box, and you can plug that in. You can plug in medications. Here's where you can put in food and water if you have something, have a contaminated uh, troop that you want to actually try to preserve their life, Yeah, there's sedative. You can plug that in, sure.
All right. There isn't much mind there. Now that we know that she's going to survive, why don't we keep her down while we investigate the rest of the station? But
It takes a while for her to subside when the sedative is put in.
yeah, that tracks.
Right.
I'll count backwards from 10.
You get an expression that may be baring teeth and trying to reach towards you instead of Antuxa.
Oh, look, she's smiling.
You know, they've only
Fine.
had me do that once in the 5 years that I've been getting these surgeries.
Hmm? Oh, count backwards
Counting
from
backwards
10?
from 10.
Count backwards from 10. Yeah. I made it to 3.
I
Not
have no
bad.
memory of what they tell me before I go under.
I mean, it does mess with short-term memory.
Oh, yeah. I apparently don't remember any of my discharge instructions from my last surgery either.
I don't know why they even talk to people with the discharge instructions, because their short-term memory is screwed. You have to talk to the person who's with them, and you give them paper with instructions. You don't talk to them.
My mom was there. My sister was there. They said I was clearly alert and understanding and replying appropriately.
Oh, yeah.
Way to go if you passed me.
I mean, you're there, you're present, but nothing is getting written to long-term storage.
Oh, yeah.
Your memory is trashed.
That
I've seen
Anyway.
this. Anyway, you have a sedated. You might want to dig out some further bottles of, sedatives so you can hook it up for long-term sedation. But yeah, she's sedated for now.
Just a chain of sedative bottles going out the door.
What you do is you get one big sedative bottle and you plug it in and you set it to the timer. And oh yes, here's the instructions right here. Sen has them.
The propane tank bottle.
Yes, the big bottle. That's the little spray can sized bottle. The big bottle
And also, we lock the cargo bay door.
with all the MREs. Yeah, that's probably fair.
well, she was
Yeah, well,
hungry.
if she's hungry.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could shove
And-
some MREs in there if you want.
Rand has a few emergency stashes elsewhere on the ship. That's just the reserve pile.
I'll let Rand decide whether to shove some MRAs in there with her. But
The only reason he doesn't is because it was an airborne sedative that you pumped into the tent, correct?
I mean, the way to get food in is via basically an airlock effect in the thing.
Oh,
You could slide MREs through.
I toss a couple MREs through that.
Okay. It's
Not
sort
the
of
same
thing
flavor.
That you
One of them's a
can...
vegetarian option.
Variety. Well, useful. One certainly hopes that will be useful.
The other one is just all meat. They used meat substitutes for things that would have normally been vegetables.
I mean, you've probably found a few fascinating MREs that are just standard on a biotics ship, so,
Well, there's
The
a variety
algae
of
slime MRE
species,
was fascinating. Yeah, exactly.
and we all have different dietary
So-
needs.
Indeed. So, what's next? Ellie is typing. Plant with other plant flavors. Yes. What flavors it? Plant with other plant. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
It says it's made with artificial and other artificial flavors. I am somewhat concerned.
all right. What do you say we get a little closer to this this Rhodian ship and see if we can get on board that? Since it does seem to be blocking the way. We do have weapons, but that seems overkill. Also, we might damage the airlock if we do that.
It was like that when we got here.
I'm thinking more in terms of our being able to use it.
Look, if it needs to be opened, I can manage that. If it needs to be welded shut, we'll let Sen play with a lightsaber.
Will it connect to our airlock is the question. And the answer is, under your gentle hand, yes, once.
Oh no.
I appreciate that you continue to be serious while I go to my defense mechanism and joke. It's better this than my other defense mechanism, taking everything that annoys me and tossing it as far as possible away from me.
The other alternative, I suppose, is that one of us could go in next to the hyperdrive engines and then start up the Rhodian ship and pilot it away from the airlock so that we can use it.
There's also the spacewalk option to one of the escape pods.
Or one of us could pilot the Rhodian ship away from the airlock so we can use it.
We have a variety of options. None of them are
I'm
particularly...
not sure about hooking our ship up to that place.
That's fair.
Yes, I do like that we're
On the other hand, I'm not sure about spacewalking again. There's a reason I didn't open my mouth. All right. Let's position ourselves so it's at least a short walk. And then try for the escape pod. I don't know what you call that. Hatch? Doorway?
thingy.
Foyer?
I will ask for another piloting roll to scooch your airlock up close to the empty life pod bay.
I thought you were going to say piloting roll to know the proper vocabulary for this term.
Heck no! Then I'd have to come up with it.
IQ piloting.
I mean, yes, probably. Berth.
I'd
There's a
position the
lot.
ship myself if it were a shuttle, but that control is a little overwhelming even for me.
Then,
Yes.
give me a piloting roll. You're having to move your location.
Yep. Looking for
Scene
foundry
change.
window. There we go.
Let's see which one is the right. Okay.
Made by 4.
Made by 4. Very nice. Okay. Let's preload that one. All right. You're confronted with a selection of, what's the right word? Door. There's basically some doors that slammed shut after the escape pod blew its way out. And honestly, there ought to be escape pods somewhere around here, but you haven't really looked for it very hard. But, you know, sometimes they have hyperspace capabilities, sometimes they don't. So, you're up there. You can basically practically step across if you force the door open.
We point our feet
Grand
towards the
darling,
door.
you're up.
We point our feet towards the door and turn up the strength on our mag boots.
You could. Then you'd walk around on that side of the door. Although, if you're correct, this is probably blown out through the, quote, floor, unquote, of, you know, on the placement, it probably blew out through the floor. So if you have your mag boots facing there, well.
I don't think that us using our mag boots in that way would actually work well because of how the strength of a magnet reduces exponentially with distance. However, I thought it would be funny. So,
There is that.
we make the quick step across, and is there any panel or anything that lets us open the door the easy way?
No, there's not really meant to be panels that open these doors the easy way.
Okay, then I'm going to open the door the other easy way.
Made it by 11. With a certain amount of tugging, because these doors, there's apparently an atmosphere on the other end, and the doors are meant to close from, you know, they're being pressed closed.
I'm trying
You can
to do
shove
this
it
gently.
open. It takes a little while. You are not burning fatigue, but you are getting a little bit. There might be a little bit of sweat happening, but no one can see you're in a spacesuit.
In space, no one can see you
Eventually,
sweat.
exactly.
It
At least so
evaporates
long
off
as
very
you're-
quickly.
Well, yeah, but you know, you're also polarizing it. But you know, there's little puffs of air that are evaporating the sweat for you. You can force it open. Atmosphere is escaping, although not a lot of it after a few moments.
I'm motioning for my friends to pop through as quickly as they can.
All right.
I jump toward the gap, get blown back by the escaping atmosphere, and return to my original position.
The Intuxa brand
Hey, give
yo-yo,
me-
now from Duncan.
Give me some dex rolls. The air appears to be only that which would normally be in like your average, modestly large room. Give me some dex rolls to get through, and let's just see if you have to be rescued ignominiously by Ran or something.
I
And
will.
Tuxa.
It will not be ignominious because I don't know what that means. Don't define it. It's better this way.
Yep.
That was
Okay.
that was some large numbers, but I still made it by 7. I put Entuxa in the airlock, the other airlock, not the one that she's already in.
And
I make
Tuxa,
it
you
look
can
like she's
scramble
doing
in.
it.
I see. You can clamber in. It's a little bit awkward. You're basically clambering from no gravity upward into gravity. That you are at floor level as you climb in. Sen, give me your roll.
I'll give Sam a hand when they come across.
Okay.
I am rolling Dex.
Yep. Since I don't think you have... Oh, very nice. Sen's
Made by
fine. Sen
7.
made it by 7.
Okay. And because I'm already right here, I'm going to Goblin King walk around the edge.
Yeah, fair enough. Well,
may I use telekinesis self to make it
Self.
easier?
Yes, you may. Yes, you may.
Well, I
Made it
made that by 5.
Sure. You may Goblin
So-
King walk around the edge.
So that means I made my dex roll by 4.
Very nice. Yes, you did both.
And now, if I
Okay.
let go of the doors, do they close?
They do not close quickly, but after a little bit, they start sort of sliding closed slowly. You may want to help them along, honestly.
I thought I might need to give them a gentle nudge. So I made
Yes.
that by 12. I give them a gentle nudge.
Yes, you gently put the doors back.
Dear listeners, please remember, Rand is still a glass cannon. Ask him to do an acting role. Or use any other force abilities besides these two. And the one time he thought, wait, I have a lightsaber. I could use it. He was horribly injured, and Intuxa had to piece him back together. And Ellie, what was that?
Clearly, I'm the physically apt one of this group.
That's right. I made it look like Intuxa was doing it. I hope to one day have your skill.
It's nice to be recognized. And Tuxa is very clearly joking.
So is Ran. We have an
All right.
understanding.
You're in a room. It does not actually have the large 14 on the floor. That's a reference from me. So I'm sorry
didn't take
it's
us
not
over
there.
to the new map.
It didn't take you over to the new map.
Is the new map named Ship? No, it's not. It's named Quadrants 1 and 2. We got a buy one get one free deal. Wonderful.
It's a room. It's a
feel
room.
like there should be something over here on the floor, and yet it appears empty and blank. Fascinating.
This area is very dark. Most of the lighting fixtures are smashed. There's, you're presumably using flashlights around.
Don't we all have night
There's
vision?
no-
I'm going to.
Suits have them attached.
Yes, your suits have them attached. Yes, you have night vision, but night vision needs a little bit of light.
I'm going to take out the biotic scanner I brought with me
Okay.
and start scanning the atmosphere once it starts filtering back in.
There are indeed filters that are sending atmosphere through. It's going slowly. Give me a tricorder. Whatever. Probably going to be a computer ops, and made it by 7. Okay, yeah. That goes with any penalties. You are not scanning any toxins in the air at this time. The air appears to be normal, but then it's being pumped in and this. Okay, technically this is the technology facility, but biotics knew about it, so they may have very good air filters. You're getting
Okay.
air. It's pumping in. You would not want to take your helmets off at this time. For one thing, it's very thin atmosphere.
Yeah. Are we getting heat?
The heat is coming in with the warmer the air.
Commensurate with the air.
Yes.
Okay.
The place is being restored to have livable atmosphere in both heat and
Okay.
air.
I'll recommend that we wait until the atmosphere has re-leveled before we open the door.
Okay. This is going to take probably at least 15 minutes before you can get a sort of... You could take your helmets off if you really wanted to, but you'd be like at the top of a mountain and sort of gasping a little.
No, my helmet's
Let's
playing on a
not.
radio right now. Of course, it's Girl from Ipanema, because we're waiting.
I don't trust this place. I'm keeping my helmet on. What do you say we open this door?
It would be funny if something was leaning up against the door on the other side. It would come flying through. However, the door is open. Never mind.
The door opens out into a corridor. Little alcove in a corridor, technically. It's moderately dark out here as well, which is kind of, well, fascinating. It's... Now, there were ceiling light fixtures. They've been kind of smashed. It's
Smashed.
long, narrow. Yeah, smashed. Like something took a stick or a training saber or club, war sword, and walked through and went crunch, crunch, crunch.
Great, I hate it.
There's a few little emergency lights glowing red here and there.
Is there any other damage?
It's a corridor. There's a bloody handprint over there. There's a blood smear, and something seems to have dragged itself off towards the left. I mean, west is hard to, So
Right.
after
We will
you
go
step
west.
forward and are left. After you step forward for a bit, the door behind you just automatically slides shut again.
No complaints about that.
See, I know that's how that's supposed to work, but in an environment like this, it's still kind of creepy, don't you think? Even the bloody handprints and... Oh, you opened a door.
Well, you know what they
There's
say.
You know what they say?
Every time you come to a door, it should be opened.
I
If it's locked,
I
open
thought
it
you were
anyway.
going to say when one door closes, another door opens.
This appears to be a hatch that probably leads to the maintenance stuff that runs underneath the habitable locations.
Any blood?
Yeah, there's some blood here and there, sort of small scrabbly bits. Seems like something was clawing at the hatch or maybe even opened it, went inside.
Okay.
Hard to tell.
Well,
Splotches.
we'll save this as a plan B. I would close the door again. Well, you said there was more blood going through this door over here to the west.
Yeah, it seems like something dragged itself through that door.
So this would be more blood, which means more interesting.
Is the hatch to the southeast meant to be open to 15?
I think the walls aren't lining up with the door perfectly.
Correct. The doors
Okay.
and walls are not perfectly lined up. I will fix that just a tad.
I'm just
There.
pointedly ignoring
Fix it.
that side of the building.
Gotcha.
I thought I'd tested these more, but oh well.
Oh, well.
I'd like to open that door to the west from here.
How big are the doors?
The doors are basically door sized, but I'm running the whole door across the things so that you people can actually
Okay.
walk through.
So the doors are door sized.
It could be worse. It could be a large door the size of a
They're-
small
Sure.
door.
large
Such
doors,
a small
yeah.
door. See, the reason I wanted to know is if a giant monster is wandering through here, it can't be too big to fit through the doors.
It
True.
could have grown after it went through the door.
Yeah, but then it'd have to shrink down again to get behind more doors.
It could be a noodle.
So, yeah, we're going to fight a giant evil snake.
The T-Rex snake from the XKCD comic. I would like to open the door from here before Sen gets to it.
One moment.
I'm not heading for it. I'm just standing here. But yeah, I figured you were about to open it, and that's why I'm standing here.
Let me do a quick thing because there's an interesting little effect that I wish I knew how Ellie had done the there's a word, teleport things in the, I'll just do that, and that will presumably, yes, okay. I will have to move you bodily at some point. Okay, you want to open that door that's in front of Sen. Okay, you can do that. There are little palm open the door things because apparently the automatic, I will just open the door because somebody's close to me, it's not actually working on this one. The palm lock, well, it's not a lock, it's more like, you press the button and it opens the door. It does have a fair amount of blood on it, like people with bloody hands have smacked it a few times.
I push the blood down in the shape of a hand. And I made
Yes,
that by
okay.
14, so I might actually be able to do what I said.
The door opens. It is a large room. It is also dark.
Good news, there's no green
It
circles.
looks like, yes, it looks like it's empty in the image, but it is actually filled with tables and laboratory type equipment that's all been smashed, and what look like a lot of cages of various sizes, from small to medium, that have been broken out of. There's a fair amount of blood on the floor.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
It
Well,
looks like
that's
there's been
delightful.
It looks like there's been some lightsaber stuff that went through tables, and not the ceiling very much, fortunately, because you don't really want to stick a lightsaber through the ceiling when you're in a space station, But
for Christ's sake.
it looks like there's a great big fight here.
And we missed
Ugh.
it. No wonder Sen's upset.
Just assume rubble is...
Fine. I'll just kill a bunch of killer beasts myself, should I?
Speaking...
I'm following you. I'm, maintaining a respectful distance. Trying not to crowd you.
No, I mean these guys.
Oh, well, I can't be responsible for them.
Right. Apparently they can't either.
This doesn't really look like it's up technology's alley.
The state of pet ownership these days is disgraceful.
Are you doing any, stealth rolls or anything, just out of curiosity?
In a spacesuit? Rand's assuming that he's not being very stealthy, even if he wanted to be. Clonk, 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 clonk.
And
I can't believe I made that.
Success by 1. For being in a spacesuit, you are not actually being as clonky as you might. Sen made by 4, Rand made by 2.
How am I
let's
not being the loudest person here, my word?
And let's just make this...
We all actually rolled the same thing. It's just, you both have stealths higher than mine.
Well, this is room 13.
So we got to it in 3 different ways.
This is room 13, so I've got a good feeling about it. Especially with how many times Beth is rolling right now.
I would like a perception roll from you people.
Is it hearing or just general perception?
Hearing is fine to use if it's higher than general.
Okay.
Highest of vision or hearing.
Made it by that much.
Okay. Sen, you are... There's something moving over to the south bottom. And Tuxa, you hear things scrabbling through the wreckage over to the south. Multiple things. Then goes invisible.
Well, I'm still here, I promise.
We can't have them using the wreckage for cover now, can we? Let's get a good look. Telekinesis
And what
other
are you
made
doing
by
with your
8.
success by 8?
So you've described a variety of things that are filling this room. I would like to
Tables, upturned, broken chairs. Yeah.
I would like to start with the stuff that's closest to us and move it over towards that wall to the east, clearing a path until I get to whatever's making the noise to the south. Yes,
I
I'm
think
clearing a
that's
clear path to them, but I'm also clearing a clear path for them to get to Sen, which is perhaps something that Sen would like anyway.
Well, let's see. As you move things, you move a table and something shrieks with indignation and leaps off the table to go snarling.
It's a sprat. A space rat.
Well, yeah, it's a space rat that stands about not quite up to your knee at the shoulders. And
Is it not much larger than the exhaust port that will be targeted to blow up the Death Star?
well, that's about right, actually. Yeah, it's a womp rat.
I prepare a
It's a
photon
womp
torpedo.
rat, and it snarls at you all. Well, mostly it's Sen and Rand, because those are the ones that it can see. It opens its mouth, and it emits a scream.
That did not sound like a scream.
That sounded like me igniting my lightsaber.
As you ignite your lightsaber, if you would kindly make a either strength roll or telekinesis self roll, because you are being shoved backwards by the force of the scream.
I have telekinesis other. There's a default between those, right?
Yes, I believe that the default between them should be I think it's, let me carefully check what I have. Cat, you're not helping me. The cat is not helping. Telekinesis.
The womp rat learned a trick. I'm gonna name him Scruffy.
-3. -3. Self and other default at -3. Not quite a crit.
Refuse, Screamy.
Rand, you make it too. You're in a line. But I know, you're going to make your telekinesis other quite handily. Oh, by 2.
Only by 2.
A mere only by 2. You are somewhat shoved back against the wall by this, but not in a damaging way.
I am not upset at all. I'm actually kind of impressed.
Anyway, it's 9 o'clock now. I think we might ought to not start combat right now. So let's call this the cliffhanger. Does anyone have anything they'd like to plug?
Not in this station.
Well, I'm given to understand that your child's mom writes book.
Fascinating.
Just one.
Perhaps
Just
you should go to
Yes.
Perhaps you should go to elizabethmccoy.com and find out. There are even some space stories there, including at least one that's set on a space station. That would be the WANHT, want, I think is how that I spelled that. Leaders. It's a nice little story. There's a space station involved. It's not a creepy horror story at all, however. And speaking of websites, Ellie, do you have one to plug?
Not tonight,
All right, not tonight.
but I'm pretty sure Crash does.
Well, we have one or two. We do have aaronbsmith.com/cogwheel, which is where you can find all of these wonderful podcasts for more than one campaign going on, not just GURPS. You can also follow us on the Fediverse at is.aaronbsmith.com/@cogwheel. And we have a Patreon, patreon.com/cogwheelgaming, where you can help us keep the lights on along with other illustrious patrons, including Ellie, Shanshan, Walter, Liv Droman, and patron emeritus Cindy.
Until next time, this is Beth saying, how many of those things are out there, I wonder? You, after all, Antuxa did hear more than one. Good night, everyone.
This one's gonna be Scruffy. That one's Scruffy Jr. That one's Scritchy. That one's Mangy. That's not a name. That's an actual
They're all
description
going
of...
to be dead.
No! They are my children and I love them. Good night, everyone.
Rip that.